Look, I know you probably heard 1,000 times that you should start an online business. And I know that every year someone's out there saying this is the year to finally make the jump. But I genuinely believe that in 2026 is going to be different. And I'm going to explain exactly why in a way that I think will actually make sense to you, not just from high perspective, but from a practical logical standpoint. Because here's what's happening right now that most people aren't paying attention to. We're at this interesting intersection where traditional career paths are becoming increasingly unstable. Layoffs are happening in industry that people thought were bulletproof. AI is starting to reshape what jobs even look like. The cost of living keeps going up while salaries stay flat. And at the same time, the barrier to entry for building a legitimate digital income has never been lower. So if you've been thinking about this, if you've been on the fence about whether now is the right time to start building something online, I want to walk you through not just why it's the year to do something about it, but also what options are actually available to you, because I think there's a lot of confusion about what it means to go digital, and people end up choosing a path that sounds good on the surface, but have fundamental issues that keep them stuck. And I don't want that to happen to you. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the three main business models people use to make money online. You're going to see the pros and cons of each one clearly, and you're going to know which direction makes the most sense if you're serious about building something that actually gives you freedom and not just another job disguised as entrepreneurship. So let's start with the why now question, because timing actually matters more than people think. First thing you need to understand is that we're living through what I call the great recalibration. People are fundamentally rethinking what they want their lives to look like. And it's not just about making more money, it's about having control over their time, having flexibility in where they live and how they work, and not just being dependent on a single employer who can decide their entire financial future with one email. And this isn't just a feeling, this is showing up in data. Remote work proved that most jobs can be done from anywhere, which means people now know that physical presence is not required anymore. And once you realize that your company actually doesn't need you in the office, it's a huge leap to realize that you don't actually need your company either if you can create your own income streams. But here's the part that makes 2026 interesting. The technology has matured to the point where you don't need to be some tech wizard to build a digital business anymore. Tools for building websites, managing email lists, processing payments, creating content, all that stuff that used to require a developer or a big team, you can now do it yourself with platforms that are intuitive and affordable, which means the only real barrier left is knowledge and execution, not resources. The other thing that's happening in 2026 is that consumer behavior has completely shifted because people are now used to buying online, they're used to learning online, they're used to building relationships with people they've never met in person. And that normalization of digital transaction means that selling something online doesn't have the friction it used to have even 5 years ago. People aren't skeptical anymore. They're actually looking for solutions in digital spaces because that's where they spend their time. And then there's the economic reality, which is that traditional paths to wealth are becoming less accessible. Real estate requires massive capital. The stock market is volatile and it requires knowledge that most people just don't have. And starting a brick and mortar business requires six figures in startup costs. But digital products, digital services, digital offers, those can be started with basically nothing and scale to 6 or 7 figures with the right model. And that accessibility is why so many people are paying attention to this space right now. So when I say 2026 is the perfect year to go digital, I'm not saying it because it sounds good. I'm saying it because the conditions have aligned in a way that genuinely favors people who are willing to learn a new skill set and commit to building something. If you wait another 2 or 3 years, the opportunity is still going to be there, but it's going to be more crowded, more competitive, and harder to break into without significant advantages. Now, let's talk about what it actually means to go digital, because I think this is where a lot of people get confused. They hear make money online and they think it's all the same thing, but there are really three different businesses models that most people use. And each one has a completely different structure, different pros and cons, and different outcomes depending on what you're optimizing for. The three models we are going to talk about is affiliate marketing, network marketing, and high ticket digital products. And I'm going to walk through each one so you can see clearly what you'll be getting into with each path, because the last thing I want is for you to spend 6 months or years building something only to realize that the model itself has limitations that you didn't see at the beginning. I'm going to be honest about what I think is the best path, but I want you to understand why I think that based on logic and structure, not just because I'm telling you to do it. You should still make decisions based on understanding the full picture, not just taking someone's word for it. Now, let's start with affiliate marketing because this is usually where most people begin, and it makes sense why. It's low barrier to entry. You don't have to create your own product. You just need to drive traffic to someone else's offer, and you get a commission when someone buys. And there are thousands of affiliate programs out there, ranging from physical products to digital courses to software subscription. The appeal of affiliate marketing is obvious. You can start today with basically no money. You can test different offers quickly. You can build around content you're already creating. And if you pick the right niche and the right offers, you can absolutely make money with this model. I'm not going to sit there and tell you it doesn't work because plenty of people do it successfully. And I have myself made sales with this model. But here's where it gets tricky, and this is what most people don't think about until they're already deep into it. Affiliate marketing, especially low ticket affiliate marketing, is a volume game. And volume requires constant traffic, it requires constant content, and constant content requires constant energy. At a certain point, you have to realize that you've built a machine that only works when you're feeding it. And the moment you stop, the income stops. Let me give you some numbers to illustrate this. Let's say you're promoting a product that pays you $20 per sale, which is pretty typical for a lot of low ticket affiliate offers, and you want to make $5,000 a month. You need 250 sales, which means you need thousands of clicks to your affiliate link, which means that you need tens of thousands of impressions on your content. And those numbers only work if your conversion rates are decent, which they often aren't when you're just starting out. So what ends up happening is people get into affiliate marketing thinking it's going to be this passive income thing, but it turns into this grind where they're constantly creating content, constantly trying to rank on Google or beat the algorithm on social media, constantly looking for new traffic sources because the old ones dried up. And after a year or two, they're making some money, but they're exhausted and they don't actually own anything because their entire business is dependent on other people's products and other people's platforms. The other issue with affiliate marketing that people don't talk about enough is that you have zero control over the offer. The product owner can change the commission structure, they can shut down the program, they can change the product in a way that makes it harder to sell. And you have no say in any of that because you're just a referral partner. You're not building equity, you're not building something you own. Now, I'm not saying affiliate marketing is bad if you're just trying to make some extra money on the side and you don't care about building something long term. It can work fine, but if your goal is freedom, if your goal is to build something that compounds over time and doesn't require you to constantly hustle for the net sale, low ticket affiliate marketing is probably not going to get you there, or at least it's going to take you a lot longer and require a lot more traffic than most people have access to. All right, now let's talk about network marketing, which is also multi-level marketing or MLM. And I want to be fair about this because I know some people have strong opinions on both sides, but I think if you look at it objectively, you can see both why it appeals to people and why it has some fundamental challenges that are hard to overcome. The core idea of network marketing is that you're not just selling a product, you're also building a team of other people who are selling the product, and you earn commissions not only on your own sales, but also on the sales made by the people you recruit and the people they recruit also, and so down the line. So in theory, you can build this leverage income where you're earning money from the efforts of dozens or hundreds or even thousands of people in your organization. And I get that's why it's attractive because it sounds like you're building something that can grow beyond your own personal capacity. And there are definitely people who have made significant money in network marketing. I'm not going to pretend like those success stories don't exist, but the question you have to ask yourself is what percentage of those people who get into network marketing actually achieve that level of success, and what does the journey look like for the average person? Here's the reality most people don't want to talk about. Network marketing is really hard, And it's hard for the reasons that have nothing to do with whether the product is good or whether the compensation plan is generous. It's hard because building and managing a team is an entirely different skill set than just making sales. And most people who get into network marketing have never managed a team before. They've never recruited anyone before. They never trained people before. And they're suddenly expected to do all those things while also hitting their own sales numbers. And the other thing that makes network marketing challenging is that your success is tied to other people's efforts, which means you're constantly dealing with people who lose motivation, people who quit, people who don't follow through. And even if you're doing everything right on your end, your income can stagnate or decline because the people below you aren't performing. And there's only so much you can do about that because you can't force someone to work on their own business. The team building aspect also means that you're spending a huge amount of time on activities that don't directly generate income. You're doing training calls, you're doing one to one coaching, you're managing group dynamics, you're dealing with people who have questions or problems or complaints. And for a lot of people, that starts to feel like a management job more than a business. And if you wanted to manage people, you probably could have just gotten promoted at your day job instead of starting something new. Now, the other challenge with network marketing, and this is something that I think is really important to understand, is that even though you're technically building a team, you don't actually own the infrastructure. The company owns the product, the company owns the compensation plan, the company owns the system. And if the company changes the rules or goes out of business or makes decisions you don't agree with, you're stuck because your entire organization is tied up to that company and you can't just transfer it somewhere else. So, my take on network marketing is this: if you're someone who genuinely loves people, if you're someone who has experience with team building and you know you're good at it, and if you find a company with a product you really believe in and a compensation structure that's fair, then network marketing can work for you. But you have to go into it knowing that it's going to be people intensive, it's going to require skills that most people don't naturally have, and your income is going to be largely dependent on factors outside of your direct control. For most people watching this, I don't think network marketing is the best efficient path, not because it can't work, but because the energy and the time investment required to build a successful team could be put toward building something where you have more control and more leverage without having to manage other people. So that brings us to the third model, which is high ticket digital products. And this is the one I want to really spend the most time on because I genuinely believe it's the best option for people who are serious about building something that gives them real freedom. And I'll explain exactly why. First, let's define what we're talking about. High ticket digital products are offers that sell from anywhere from $500 to $1,500 or more. And they're usually things like comprehensive training programs, done for you services, coaching, masterminds, implementation programs, basically anything where you're delivering significant amount of value and charging accordingly. And the key word there is digital, which means there is no physical inventory, no shipping, no overhead in the traditional sense. Now, here's why this model is so powerful because you're selling high ticket offers. You don't need volume the same way you do with affiliate marketing. If your offer is $2,000 and you want to make $10,000 a month, you need 5 sales, not 250 sales. And that right there completely changes the game in terms of what your traffic and conversion requirements look like. Think about what that means from a practical standpoint. Instead of needing to reach hundreds of thousands of people, you need to reach hundreds of people. And instead of needing a massive audience, you need a small targeted audience of the right people. And instead of competing on price and convenience, you're competing on transformation and results, which means that you can build a real relationship with your customers instead of just being a faceless transaction. The other huge advantage of high ticket digital products is that the profit margins are insane. If you're selling a $2,000 digital product, your cost to deliver that is basically nothing once you have the asset, which means almost everything you make is a profit. And that profit can be reinvested into better marketing, better content, better systems, which creates compounding effects where your business gets easier to run the more successful it becomes. But here's the part that I think is the real game changer. And this is what separates high ticket digital products from both affiliate marketing and network marketing. When you're selling your own high ticket offer, or when you're promoting someone else's high ticket offer as an affiliate, where you can earn 100% commissions, you get to keep 100% of the profits, and the delivery is automated. So you're building personal equity from your effort. And before you think, well, that sounds great, but I don't have a high ticket product to sell, let me stop you right there, because you don't have to create your own product to benefit from this model. There are high ticket affiliate programs where you can promote someone else's proven offer and earn commissions that are just as high or sometimes higher than if you created it yourself. One of the advantages is that you don't have to worry about product creation. You don't have to worry about fulfillment. You just focus on connecting the right people with the right solution, and you get paid very well for making that connection. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking. If high ticket is so good, why isn't everyone doing it? And the answer is because it requires a different approach than most people are used to. It requires you to build authority and trust before you ask for the sale. It requires you to have real conversations with people instead of just blasting out links. It requires you to think strategically about who your audience is and what transformation they're actually looking for. And a lot of people would rather just post on social media and hope something happens than do the deeper work of actually understanding their market. But if you're willing to do that work, if you're willing to build relationships, if you're willing to position yourself as someone who understands the problem and has access to real solutions, then high ticket digital products give you a path to six figures that doesn't require you to have a huge audience. It doesn't require you to manage a team, and doesn't require you to be constantly grinding for low dollar sales that barely move the needle. And look, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, this makes sense, but I don't know where to start. I don't know how to find these high ticket programs. I don't know how to position myself to sell something at that price point. I totally get it, because that's exactly where I was when I first started looking into this model. And that's why I want to give you something that is going to help you a lot. It's called the Freedom Formula Blueprint, and it's completely free. It's just a straightforward breakdown of how the high ticket digital model works, how to have a program that will actually pay you 100% commissions, and how to set everything up so you're not just starting from scratch trying to figure this out on your own. If you want it, there's a link in the description. Just go grab it, go through it, and you have a much clearer picture of what this path actually looks like and whether it's right for you. Because I'd rather you make an informed decision than just take my word for it. All right, let me keep going because I want to tie this all together for you. So now that you've seen all three models, you've seen affiliate marketing, network marketing, and high ticket digital products, let's just lay out the logic really clearly so you can see why one of these makes more sense than the other if your goal is freedom. Affiliate marketing with low ticket offers requires massive volume, which means massive traffic, which means you're either spending a lot of money on ads or spending a lot of time on creating content. And even if you get good at it, you're still trading time for money and you don't own the offer. So you're building someone else's business more than your own. Plus, you're also splitting your commissions. Some of these affiliate programs only pay like 50% commissions. It's better to just sell something where you get to keep 100% commissions. Network marketing requires you to build and manage a team, which is the skill set most people don't have and don't enjoy. And even if you're good at it, your income is dependent on other people's efforts, and you still don't own the infrastructure. So you're vulnerable to company decisions that are completely outside of your control. High ticket digital products are by far my favorite business models. On the other hand, they require fewer sales to hit your income goals. They give you higher profit margins. They allow you to build real relationships with customers instead of just chasing clicks. And if you're doing it right, you're building something that you own, or you're partnering with programs that pay you what you're actually worth for the value that you put out there in the marketplace.